What's up, everyone? Welcome to another Card Advantage video. I'm Jacob, and I'm joined by Sean again for our third installment of the Sandscour Great Bill gameplay series. This is another one where it's a difficult matchup that we want to showcase, which is the Dash matchup. Mid-range Dash just has a lot of tools to answer your biggest threats. They're running a lot of defense reactions, a lot of mid-range dashes, including this one, which is the calling winning list, are running Reinforce the Line, which is even better against Dominate. And then they just get set up with their items and mow you down. They have also the flavorful T-Bone Magnetic play to just nuke all of our equipment, including New Horizon, which is basically the engine for our deck. So there's a lot of hard stuff about the Dash matchup. But on our side, we are running Bullseye Braces and Null Rune Boots. It's a little bit cringe to have to run this, but the biggest way we lose is if it's just the Dash gets a lucky T-Bone Magnetic early and we lose our New Horizon, or they chip down our Blade Break equipment with a couple early T-Bones, and then later they only have to do 2 T-Bones in a row to kill the New Horizon. So this is our best chance at not just getting auto loses to breaking New Horizon, and we just didn't really find a slot in the deck to add snaps instead of Null Rune. And we're not losing too much. The only on-hit Dash really does is CNC sometimes, and sometimes Dash doesn't even run that card. But this is kind of just accepting the fact that T-Bone is insanely strong versus us, and we're trying to play around it. Other than that, we cut Rabble. Sean and I are talking about bringing Rabble back in versus Dash, but for now, the resource curve makes it so that Rabble just doesn't present that much damage sometimes, and other times it reveals the arrow you're going to dominate, and they can just block it for free. But it's very debatable. We can definitely bring it back in. Battering Bolts get cut, and then Murkmire and Remembrance also gets cut, and we're on 62. Dash has the chance to run us out of cards by the time they get to low life, and if we have no cards in deck, obviously we're going to lose versus all these items. So what about your sideboard, Sean?
Yeah, so I'm playing Merrick Kemp's Calling First Place list. It is very boost heavy. It does have a strong mid-range package with 3 Plasma Purifiers that seem to be more oriented towards Oldham with 2 Induction Chambers. I have opted to play the mid-range kind of slow setup-y game against Azalea, and the key indicator for that was Reinforce the Line being in the list. If Reinforce the Line was not in the list, if this was another 2 Fates, I might reconsider boosting into this because of the 9 T-Bones and the 3 Magnetic. Being able to take away Azalea's equipment, regardless of build, is extremely, extremely strong. But that was my indicator to play mid-range. And for that reason, I am taking out Teklo Pounder and the Pulse Wave Harpoons because I'm not expecting to be boosting on my first cycle, and I wanted to have more resources in the list, along with those T-Bones. So for the same reason, Max Velocity will come out. You don't want to get jammed up with a Max Velocity if you get Red in the Ledger. You could just end up missing opportunities to play it and never get it out. Remembrance, I have the advantage here. I doubt I'll run out of cards. I'm not boosting. And then here is Purifier. And then the yellow throttles are just coming out because at least 2 of the 3, just because I want a few more resources in the list, but I don't really like the 2 for 5 if I am going to swing an attack on a Red in the Ledger turn. So that's how I'm going to be playing it.
Yeah, sounds good. As per tradition, you'll be going first because that is the harder setup for Azalea when we were testing this matchup. So you can go ahead and go first and get started.
All right, looking forward to the Spark of Genius here. No, just
Please
kidding.
no.
It's even better. It's even better. This is the most obnoxious first hand I've had. Dude, I in this gameplay series, dude, I've been having a blast. Just absolutely getting the best possible hands I could.
This is suboptimal for me. You did use your action point, so
Yeah.
I could consider doing a quiver here. And I also have resources. I have a yellow in hand, so I'm going to quiver basically just to get a free check. Maybe I can get some compensation for you revealing a item in turn 0. I do not, and in fact, it's pretty bad because I lose a Codex of Frailty. Oh no, this just goes back on top. Never mind. It's fine.
Yeah, you discard it. Get rid of it.
That goes back on top, and then I will draw 1 and go to me. Tuna goes to 1. I will be activating Great Bow.
Oh,
I probably wants to end with this Codex of Frailty in Arsenal, so I'm going to pitch the Deadeye to Greatbow. Check top, not an arrow, load a red in the ledger. We have one floating. I'm going to lace with the inertia, shoot the red in the ledger for 8, and then end with the card in Arsenal. This is not dominated. What's up, everyone? Jacob here in post-editing again, just like in the video against Dromai. I'm going to be bringing up some changes to play we could have made throughout the course of this game. Right away, we're in a pretty bad position with Sean getting his second induction chamber on turn 0. But even given that, we figured out that the dash matchup does need a little bit more setup, especially the mid-range dash. If we thought that this was a boost dash, I think sending red in the ledger here for 8 is pretty fine because they can just present so much damage. But the thing with mid-range dash is they're running many misses for boosts, like defense reactions and reinforce the line and stuff. So if we just pass back and give them a 5-card hand, it's not always the case that they can do a maximum amount of damage to us with those without risking the boost. And if we do let them risk the boost, there's a chance that they have to pop their accelerator early, they lose one of their D-reacts or something from the deck. So given this, I think an alternate line here is actually just loading the red in the ledger and arsenaling the Codex of Frailty and holding up the lace with the inertia in hand. This will potentially allow us next turn to go a lot higher and set up a double arsenal instead of a single arsenal. It's probably not necessary because we're arsenaling specifically Codex of Frailty, which is going to help us set up a double arsenal on next turn, given that red and ledger is already in the graveyard and we'll most likely be able to cast it. But if we can't cast it, we might get stuck on a single arsenal for a couple turns. And we really need to get our engine of having a double arsenal up and running versus dash, because anytime we dominate an attack, it needs to be something more than 8. They have equipment up for a long time. They have lots of red unmovable, D-reacts, and reinforce the line. So taking a first turn here just to set up a double arsenal may have been very worth it versus a deck that we can already pretty much predict is going to be mid-range and most likely is going to have a hard time risking a 5-card hand boost into us. Yeah, so generally playing against the mid-range dash, it's similar to Oldhim, where you don't want to blow your entire hand and end with no arsenal if you're not dominating something, because you need to give yourself the most chance to dominate things in future turns. So if I did have a way to save this lace with the inertia and go into a double arsenal, I would even just send this red for 5. But here, I think it's okay because it takes some cards.
There's 6. And I am going to do the thing.
Sounds good. I will arsenal pass.
Here's pistol.
Pistol for 2. I will take 2.
Going again. Here's a pistol load into CNC.
This is pretty horrible. I only have a single 3 block. Yeah, we can't even cast our Codex next turn because we also have all reds. So I think sadly the correct thing to do here is to take 6, lose the arsenal. Tuni's going to go to 2. I will pitch one of my premeditates to Greatbow. We do not see an arrow. A Heatseeker goes in. And I have not seen any defense reactions, but I don't think a boost dash runs CNC.
And I'm certainly not starting.
Oh, yeah, boost dash is normally not able to get 2 inductions out that fast. There's almost a world where I arsenal pass here because I don't think mid-range dash can use a 5-card hand as efficiently. And this Heatseeker is going to get sent for 5, and I'm going to go down to a 1-card arsenal. So I don't know if you think otherwise, but my last 2 cards are buffs.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know me, I'm probably going to boost into you, but yeah, you don't want to empty that hand. This is super tough.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough draw. I mean, it does give you the chance to boost me, but like it's not like 100% risk free if you have defense reactions in the deck. So
I think you needed to make this decision when you were on defense.
Oh, just block an extra.
Yeah, 2? You needed to save life, 100%.
Yeah, that's fair. Sean's call out here is totally correct. We kind of should have known that we were going into a setup turn. 4 reds is not conducive to sending a lot of damage back and also ending with a card face up, because even if we poke with Heatseeker, we don't have another face up card and we end up just having one card in Arsenal at the end of our turn. So we have a couple options here if we did know we were going into a setup turn. First is that we bottom our Codex of Frailty for any face-up card and just accept that that's going to be going into our next turn. And then we just Arsenal pass. And this would involve us blocking with 3 of our buffs and then arsenaling our Heatseeker, or blocking with our Heatseeker and 2 buffs and arsenaling one of the buffs, which would, in my opinion, be a little bit better. Even further, saving the Codex of Frailty for the end game when we might end up getting to a low life total and have to block with extra cards versus pistol. Codex of Frailty will for sure help us get back into a momentum position where we can use a low card hand to put some pressure and force cards out of Sean's hand. If we didn't want to bottom the Codex of Frailty, our other option is to block with some cards and actually cast the Codex of Frailty to get the Heatseeker back, bottom the Heatseeker with Azalea, and then arsenal whatever card we ponder into. Both of these, I think, are definitely better setup options than the line we took. They leave us 6 life higher than we alternatively would have been, which is very relevant in the end game as far as getting forced to block is. And I think the setup turn here is definitely the correct thing to do. It's just I realized it a little bit too late in this game and got for sure punished with it. I think in this situation here, though, we're going to go ahead and Arsenal pass, and we will Arsenal the Blood Rot, because I'd rather be hitting with pre-med next turn if I blind Azalea.
All right, here is load induction chamber, 2 floats, pistols coming at you.
No
2
blocks.
Okay, this is going to tap on off. Pistol induction chamber, shoot for 2.
No blocks.
It's going to go again.
Yeah.
Here I am going to... Do I get greedy? Yeah, I think I do, just because I can't threaten you. Now, you know what? Here's 5. No boost.
5, no boost?
Yeah, 5 still good here.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and block 3 and take 2.
Okay. That's good for me.
All right. Tunic's going to 3. We are going to have a pretty good turn, I think. Lace with Blood Rot, Premeditate, Inertia, and then we're going to knock for a Remorseless to shoot off of Tunic counter with Dominate. So the Remorseless is going to hopefully help us not get blocked out as much. It's going to go to the top. It's going to go in with an aim counter and Dominate, and we're going to shoot it off of Tunic.
Yeah, you got me.
I searched Remorseless here because this is so many buffs that this is like very hard to block without using a defense reaction from Arsenal, and the Inertia, the Ponder are both very relevant here.
Let me show you how good this is.
It's very good.
Yeah. Given that I'm locked out, this is a game pivotal. Like, this is just a huge pivot turn here, to the point where I'm going to end up using the Unmovable here because I don't think the game is going to go so long, and I need to save life. And frankly, I don't want to draw into Unmovable in a hand of 3 defense reactions, which is what's going to happen.
Yeah, because it's the Inertia too. It's not Seek and Destroy, so it messes up your second cycle.
Yep. All right, so blocking 7, taking 7.
Yep.
Getting a Blood Rot. Dude, that's so huge.
Yeah, Blood Rot, Inertia, and Ponder. I will draw my pondered card and Arsenal pass.
All right, I'm going to load an induction chamber and a pistol. I'm going to do some math in my head real quick. And then I'm going to do nothing. And then I'm going to take 2. And then this Sink Below is going to go to the bottom as well.
Okay.
Dude, that's disgusting. That's like more than half of my deck's defense, by the way.
Okay, so my Tunic counter is going to go to 1.
Yeah.
I have an arrow in hand in case my blind Azalea misses. But I think blind Azalea here is pretty much always right. If I didn't blind Azalea, I'd be playing the Deadeye, and unless I saw an arrow on top, the Deadeye effect wouldn't even be live. And additionally, if the arrow was on top, then it's better to blind Azalea anyways. So I will start with this. We get a Spire Sniping, which is nice because it's going to give us a chance to find card advantage. I'll check top 2. There's a Drill Shot and a Murkmire. So I'm going to put the Drill Shot and then the Murkmire. We're going to pitch Bolton Shot.
Disgusting. You're going to quiver?
To, oh, I could technically quiver.
Yeah, you can pay to quiver and then you can dominate the Drill Shot.
Let me check my... Well, this is... The Spire is dominated here.
Oh, you blinded. You're right.
Yeah, and you don't have an arsenal, so...
Then there's no reason to quiver. There's no reason to quiver, because you won't be able to shoot both.
Yeah, so we can pay 1 for this and send this. Sorry, we didn't activate bow yet. We do activate the bow.
Oh my God.
To get the Murkmire face up with an aim counter. And then we will pay 1 to shoot this. Yeah, pitching the... I have a blue in hand to quiver here. But it doesn't really make any difference. It just makes my thing face up, and I'd rather just save the quiver.
Yeah, this is for 9.
I might have had a weird line where I Bolton shotted here, but I'd rather just not let you block extra and end my turn with 2 arsenals.
Wait, no, because there's a Seek effect here, I'm going to do this. That's fine. And then I'm going to show you this.
Okay. That's interesting. I think killing Spark is pretty good here. You get to have a high octane turn. If I don't kill the Spark and I kill the high octane instead, you probably just pistol once and then Spark for Teclocore, which is fine. The chance of high octane drawing you into all cards that you care about and not defense reactions that are going to get destroyed by Seek and Destroy is I'm okay with taking that chance. So I think I'm killing the Spark here.
That is 100% correct.
So you're under Seek and Destroy and I will Arsenal Pass.
Yeah, the worst thing I can draw is a blue in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't take the damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dang, dude, I thought I was slick with that Crown of Providence play to set up my defense, but then you jammed it all in. That was good. I didn't expect to draw into 4 of my 4 of my 5D reacts in the same hand. And Sync Blow wouldn't have done much. Yeah, since I'm getting inertia and I need to try to get some damage off.
Yeah.
Here's this draw. Load induction, and then I've got 2 more pistol, or I've got 3 total pistol shots for you. I'll let you decide.
Okay. Yeah, we drew into a bit of a bad hand, so we're actually going to be blocking here a lot. We're blocking all 3 of these.
Wait, actually, there's not a better play, because if I play the zipper hit, I don't have any resources for Teclo Heart. But if I did, it's better to boost in. Like if I had one floating after this,
yeah,
the play would have been to do this, hope I hit, and then I would have had induction and pistol preloaded, and then I would have had 3 pistol shots in addition to this. But no, that's fine. Cool.
Okay. I do actually think I consider sandbagging 1 card here, because that lets me end with an arsenal if I flip a buff off of my Blind Azalea. If I don't flip a buff off of Blind Azalea, no, yeah, if we don't flip a buff off of Blind Azalea, we're gonna end with 1 arsenal. So I'd rather just or 1 extra card, I mean. So I'd rather just block all the damage here.
Okay.
Tunic goes to 2. Going to Azalea, my face down card. We do find a buff. And I think we're actually not... We could consider sending it for 8. It is a relevant on hit. And we go into Tunic time next turn with a card that we like to Arsenal. But I think Dash is kind of just happy to block us if we do that. I think since I'm arsenaling a knock, I think I'd rather guarantee the inertia hitting off of a dominate next turn and just send 5 here. This aim counter is pretty goated for just sitting there until we needed to shoot this.
I'm trying to pretend I didn't hear what your narrative going on over there.
Yeah.
But I do know that generally speaking, when you're setting up a 6-card hand, I need to take the opening. Let me check Grave here. You have not played any Nox or Memorial Grounds, and you have a red and yeah, dude. I have to take 5 here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and Arsenal pass.
Cool. Here's a high octane. Oh, I don't want to show that to you. You
I didn't
see
see
anything.
it anyways.
You saw nothing.
Okay.
Here's Zippy for 5 boosting. 2 action points. 1 float.
We're gonna take 5 here. So there was
Um,
a chance we get CNC'd, so we might as well make sure we can
Here's-
block that.
I'm gonna tap Techlohart here. 1, 2, sick, going to 2 resources.
Yeah.
Here's a throttle for 6 boost.
I want to point out,
3
by the way, some viewers are going to say you're taking some crazy risks here, but you already saw so many of your defense reactions go to the bottom of your deck. So
Yeah,
this is, I think, very valid risks to take.
Yeah, and also like I recognize the tempo of the deck here,
Mhm.
right? And this is probably even going to be like my last chance to take meaningful
Yeah.
Control of the game with damage. So this is what I have to do.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and I know I'm not getting CNC'd because you already used Tekla and you have Tekla Foundry Heart and you have no resources floating and 1 card in hand. If your last card is a blue and you're pistoling me, I need to make sure that I'm getting value out of my cards. However, I can end with my 3 block in Arsenal, so I don't actually think I need to get value from
Which is
blocking
better.
this.
Yeah,
So,
if you know you're going to disrupt me, you always save a card. Like if
Yeah.
you know you can just end my turn.
Yes, we're gonna take
Alright,
6 from this throttle.
Here's 3 more pistol shots.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're taking 6 here.
Yeah, and you're just going to do like 14 dominate or something. And
Yeah, we really like that you did not Arsenal here. Tunic goes to 3. I'm going to Fletch Red is also sick here because it makes if you do draw some defense reactions, makes that pretty bad for you. Fletch Red happens, Lace with Inertia happens, and then I'm going to Memorial Grounds. There's almost a world where I consider getting my... Oh no, I pitched my Blue Sedation shot earlier. I was going to say I could consider getting Blue Sedation, but Red and Ledger is pretty good here too. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. That's going to go to the top. We are going to Azalea this.
oh my.
We have a free resource to Great Bow check, so we're going to take this. We miss, and we'll just load the Remorseless from hand. And then we're going to shoot this. This does get an aim counter and a dominate.
12 dominate, red's a blockless.
Yep. I had a slight variation on this play line that I could have done that I think I like better. I had a Knock the Death Whistle in Arsenal at the start of this turn. I think a better play line here is to play out my Lace with Lace with Inertia, and then use Knock the Death Whistle to get an arrow to dominate. I would take the reload effect to reload the Remorseless, bottom that for the arrow I'm dominating, and then still do the same buffs, still dominate for the same amount. But the difference here is that I would be ending with a Memorial Ground in Arsenal instead of a Remorseless. And there is definitely something to be said for keeping your Memorial Ground around because it's going to enable me to dominate again next turn. Opponent is on a little bit less armor. They are probably going to be using some armor or defensive resources for this specific dominated turn because of how strong the effect is. And if they don't, they're going to have no Arsenal again next turn, meaning that a Memorial Ground, even for a little bit less dominate, is still likely to hit, so that I can confirm myself 2 turns of momentum here. Whereas in this variation of the play line, Remorseless face up is fine. We like having face up cards in Arsenal, but I think specifically saving the Memorial Ground instead of using it this turn and bottoming the knock would have been better as far as taking control of multiple turns in a row.
Here's gonna be an unmovable.
For
I'm gonna
6?
take 6, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, I will pass.
Yeah, and then, dude, you keep like I had this, and since you had me red in the ledger, I couldn't have like pitched for pistol. So I'm gonna do this no boost, and then I'm gonna put the reinforce on the bottom from inertia. Three.
I'm gonna block 3 here.
Nice.
I'm gonna pitch a So we do have another line where we could Bolton Shot. Bolton Shot would be for 5 into our Remorseless for 5, which is 10. But I can also just load the Spire and maybe dominate something. I think that's just more relevant if I do get to dominate something. So we're gonna go with this line. We're gonna
Yeah, I mean,
pitch to
seeing
Great
red in the
Bow.
ledger on the top is just an auto win,
Yeah.
almost. If it's
We don't see an arrow, so we're gonna load the Spire. 2 floating. We're gonna check double now. They are both not arrows, but we want to change the Spire into one of these buffs, and I'm gonna shoot this for 8 and end with a card in Arsenal, which we are pretty okay with. The Remorseless, yeah, Remorseless isn't turned on, but you don't have an Arsenal anyways. Okay, I will Arsenal pass.
it's gonna be 2 pistol shots for 2. Did you Codex of Frailty me once and we forgot to do the Frailty effect?
I had to.
Okay.
My Codex of Frailty was lost to CNC, unfortunately.
Got it.
We're gonna take both of these pistol shots. We need to try to
Okay.
aggressively close this game.
Arsenal pass.
We unfortunately have to start with a blind Azalea, I think, despite how much I want to play that card out of my arsenal. But I don't see another way to play that because I really want to find an arrow off the top here for my effects to be best utilized. No arrow off the top. Now we have to be very sadly pitching the Deadeye to Great Bow. We do find an arrow here, which we will load for card advantage. 1 floating. The top check doesn't really matter because I don't have any Ponders or Heat Seekers here, but we
you have this.
Oh yeah, that's true. I do have a blue, so that would have been relevant.
Yeah.
No arrows on top anyways, but that's a good call out. We will be sending as high as we can to pressure your hands because you have an item set up here.
I think it's looking pretty grim for you.
Yeah, so this is going to put it to 10.
Yeah, you have to be able to block at least a little here.
I think we want to go a lot higher. It's going to put me down to 1 arsenal, but I think that might be necessary. So this is
12 inertia blood rot.
This is 13. There's a little bit of an interesting thing I could have done in this turn. I think starting with the blind Azalea was correct. We only had 1 arrow in hand, so we need to dig to either dominate something off the top or load something off the top, ideally. After we miss the blind Azalea, we actually have the option of using Tunic Counter to pitch to Great Bow. If we don't find an arrow on the top, then we'll still load the Infecting and we'll still pitch the Deadeye to shoot it. It just ends up in us wasting the Tunic Counter. But if we do find an arrow on the top like we did here, we actually get to cast the Deadeye and go very tall. So if we were to pretend we had used the Tunic Counter here, we would have loaded the Spire Sniping off the top, and then we would have ended up pitching the Infecting Shot still to cast the Deadeye and shoot the Spire Sniping. We do end with no card in Arsenal, but the thing about this is it's a 16 damage arrow. It's 4 buffs for 3 plus the 4 built-in Spire Sniping. And 16 damage with a Deadeye effect and Blood Rot means that we're for sure going to either get a defense reaction out of the arsenal or force some damage and the Deadeye effect. And if Dash wanted to have a turn here, they'd have to take a lot of damage because the Deadeye hitting would mean I can choose to take one of their resource cards. So maybe if they didn't have a direct in Arsenal, what they would have done is blocked 6, left 2 blues in hand, and then I take one of the blues so that they're still able to pistol shoot. I think the probably disciplined move would be for Dash to actually full block this, which is so big, and they just end up taking some damage to Blood Rot. And we're almost pretty happy with that because we chip some damage with Blood Rot and the physical. We get a turn where they're not attacking us at all. And then we can hopefully draw into a Memorial Ground or a Knock or some way to dominate, or a Codex of Frailty to get another on hit. In this late in the game, it's very important to rip cards out of Dash's hand because the pistol setup and the less density of D-Reacts in the deck means that they can boost into us as well. So giving us the out of potentially finding an arrow on the top with the Tunic, even though it's a little bit of a waste of the Tunic counter, in order to be able to also cast this Deadeye, I think is a pretty huge option at this point in the game. And I think that would have given us a little bit more breathing room than we currently have in the game.
13 inertia blood rot. It certainly is good.
Yeah. But it is an unfortunate state of the game here. If I was able to Azalea into an arrow, it would be sick.
I'm going to take 6.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Blood Rot.
Blood Rot and Inertia. Or not Inertia, but Seek and Destroy. We'll just represent it like that. And then I will pass.
Throttle for 6 boost. Zipper hit. 1 float.
The boost hit. It's really bad if we get CNC'd. It's also bad if we go low and get pistoled. I think it's more likely that we're getting pistoled than CNC'd, so I'm gonna save the life on this one where my 3 block is better than what it is on pistol shots, and I'm gonna take 1 here.
Well, I'll use Teklohart. Oops, that's my pitch. All right, 2 resources. Load pistol and induction, shoot for 2.
We will take 2.
Go again. Load pistol and induction, 1 float, shooting for 2.
Okay. Yeah, this is really unfortunate. So this is going to get blocked for 2.
Go again, shoot for 2.
And yeah, we're in checkmate because in order to keep this Codex of Frailty in hand, it's only really relevant off of my Tunic counter being on 1 because I can send a red in the ledger that you have to respect. But my 0-cost arrows do not have to be respected.
I want to say this. While I have it in my head, the turn where we're debating between bolt and shotting into the Remorseless for 10 damage split is always better against Dash because Dash does not like blocking wide. She likes blocking tall. So for instance, like on the Remorseless, all I need to do is just throw some cards down and then give you my Teklohart. If you go 5 and 3, I have to give 1 card and then Teklohart to stop the bolt and shot buff on hit.
Okay.
And then when you throw Remorseless down, I have to give you 2 cards to stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just like a better use of hand resources. And then you would, have used this efficiently. Yeah,
that's a good call out. So I'm still thinking on the final pistol shot for 2. I can technically, it's pretty horrible, but I can give New Horizon and Codex of Frailty for a red in the ledger to at least rip 2 cards guaranteed.
Best play.
And I think the Pawner token at least gets us our card back. So we're gonna do this, lose our Arsenal card, and then that's our play.
Did I never take? Oh yeah, and then I take 2 here, so that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay. You're gonna be able to get your best card back to Arsenal, but I think this is our only hope. So we're doing this for a red in the ledger.
Wait, what's my best card? Why would you say that? You mean the CNC?
Yeah, I mean CNC or just any boost that's going to let you go
CNC.
wide, but it's pretty much always CNC. Then we'll use Tunic for this. We get Frailty token is slightly relevant, I suppose, so I can cope about that a little bit.
Sure, here's 5.
I don't know where the Frailty token is, so I'm gonna put this like here.
This is the Frailty.
No, we can just put the Codex actually.
Yeah, nice.
So
Cool.
yeah, also you having 2 battle worn equipment there was pretty good. I'll draw a card off of Ponder and pass to you.
When I foresaw this, Jacob. It was all part of my plan. All right, pistol induction, shoot.
I'll take 1.
Go again.
Yep.
Uh, pistol induction,
The exact 2 blues. I mean, it's not really
shoot.
that unheard
Yeah, I mean,
of.
you can
So.
just give me Tunic here.
But yeah, I give Tunic.
Yeah, and then here's CNC with no pistols loaded, but
CNC gets blocked for 6.
oh, you have Memorial? That's so cringe, dude. There's no way you block with Red Ledger there if you don't have Memorial.
Well, I mean, it's also my only 3 block, but I do have Memorial.
Yeah. You would have found a way to not block with that.
Yeah. I mean...
All right. Let's go ahead.
It's really sad that we don't get to...
You have to Red Ledger.
Go over 5, but yeah, I don't think I see any other options. Immobilizing Shot is there, but it sucks versus Pistol, so...
You've seen me play out 2 unmovables and 2 reinforce the lines. So... Or, well, you saw me... Well, I didn't have to tell you I inertia'd the first one, so...
Right. But, yeah, so we put this on top. We will Azalea into it.
I think Frailty's kind of OP.
And then we will shoot for 5 Dominate and just hope you don't have a defensive resource in hand.
I do not. Here's this instead. I will take 2.
Okay. Probably still get shot for 6 with a red
throttle. Nah, here's... No.
Oh.
For 4, but that's still a break point. Yeah. Not if you have all 2 blocks, then it's even better.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, I mean, this is the end of the line for us. We don't really have any amazing plays off of 2 cards. We could technically say that our only out is finding an arrow off the top and pumping it with Fletch, but I don't even know what arrow we would find because we've already used 2 of our red in the ledgers. And I guess a barbed would be okay, theoretically.
Yeah, it's scenarios like this where I say that Fletch is win more because it almost like never gets you out of a bind, and typically when you're playing it, you're juicing your opponent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the safe play of blocking 5 and then shooting an arrow from hand is just never getting us there because you happily block with 2 cards. I think our only option is just hoping to find an arrow off the top and dominating it, which means that we would be blocking with these and loading a...
No, you keep Remorseless. Because if you don't see an arrow on the top, you just load this.
It's at least a more relevant effect. It's true.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Personal pass.
So we accept our fate of if we don't see an arrow, we lose, but we're already losing anyway, so this is like a roll scabs moment. We see a drill shot, but that's not really going to get us there. So we'll just load this with an aim counter and shoot it, I suppose.
And piercing OP. Dang, dude. I like so badly. I like so badly wanted to sorry. To keep this
you know
DNC.
What? Never mind. I thought I had Perch Grapplers. I was like, I wonder if I had a Perch Grapplers play here, but I didn't have resources anyways. That's fine. I'll put a counter on your Achilles Accelerator and pass.
Based.
Time to die.
Yeah, here's high octane.
Why is it that your kill turns are always insult to injury? You breaking point me for lethal plus I miss block in my Dromai game, and
dude,
then
it's just a built different moment. I don't know what you want from me.
Oh my god! It also always has.
Wait, yeah, no, and then not only that, but I have 0 to 60 and T-bone, so I can boost twice, and then I can pay into Teklo Heart and then pistol 3 times.
Jeez. So
actually, that's not true. I wouldn't have enough. No, I would have enough action points. That would be 3. Yeah. So you just lose there anyways.
We barely survived the 2 boost attacks, and then we died to your pistol afterwards. So, GG. I think the important learning here was that I think most of the turns that I took to set up were correct. Sean did call out correctly that my one turn where I set up and ended with a card in arsenal, I should have just planned for that and saved 2 life. Or sorry, it held a card in hand. Um, it doesn't change anything this game, I think. Although I might be misremembering if I was forced into an extra block earlier. Maybe it does change. Like if I had an extra pump to be able to dominate something instead of just send it raw, maybe is relevant. But other than that, I do think I played correctly on taking a big inertia play and sandbagging until I can guarantee hits off like the remorseless and stuff. And also I didn't get T-Bone Magnetic, but yeah, this is also a pretty rough matchup, but I don't think it's nearly as doomer as the Dromai matchup. It's still something that you need to put a lot of reps into to really understand the momentum and tempo of the matchup for sure.
Yeah, I think you can skill gap this one. Also, remember, I literally turn 0, loaded, like put an induction tape count, induction chamber
This is true.
on the board, which is actually this is like the win con for this matchup because if I never get this down, I'm never pressuring you enough.
Yeah.
And then this card becomes a liability once you start juicing me.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to have more pivotal defensive plays where remorseless and release the tension just absolutely shut this deck down.
Yeah.
Because I gave the only time it doesn't is if I have all my armor up.
Mm-hmm.
And even then it might still like, and it has to be a reinforce the line play. Or an unmovable out of hand, which is generally speaking, if the dash is throwing all the armor and an unmovable out of hand, you're like plenty happy with that. So
yeah, it just means your next thing is more likely to hit.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a good shout with the turn 0 induction. So my cope levels are a little bit higher. I did get you to 3 here, but I mean, I got you to 3 and you saw a 4-card hand. So that specific call out is not as relevant because life total doesn't matter when I die over by 5 or whatever.
Yeah, I will say the equalizer there is that I didn't get to pace my defense as much as I would have liked to because I drew it all at once.
Yeah.
But that was like a skill issue because I just used my armor effectively, recognizing what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, interestingly, on the educational side of things, it is relevant to show the low rolls of the Sandscour deck because this deck, I think you can get it to get this deck consistent across the board when you are low rolling takes the most skill for sure. But this deck also high rolls a lot. You can destroy people with inertias, red and ledgers very early. You can see your memorial grounds very early. But knowing what to do when you don't see your big stuff early in the game is a big factor if you're trying to take this to big events. You need a lot of reps to know what to do when you're not high rolling your back-to-back stuff early. So even though I lost this game, and you can go back and watch the Dromai games that were pretty rough as well, it's important to get these reps in where you get demolished because if you're playing against an opponent that doesn't know the matchup, you need to know your outs and you need to know what happens when you don't draw your good stuff and how to kind of stall the game out until you can make big plays. You have anything else to say before the end, Sean?
I do not. Oh, actually, that's a lie. When Jacob was saying that there's usually something you can do if you don't see your power cards, I guess my hint to that would be it's usually Remorseless, Heat Seeker, or Drill Shot, depending on the matchup and the board state. So the deck should always feed you one of those, and then it's just about setting up those 6-card hands. Like what kept Jacob in this game after I was able to full block a key play and get my induction chamber out early was Jacob saying, you know what, I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to soak damage for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back and try to take the game back. And he really almost did. Also, it was an excellent New Horizon block. So there were just like minute plays in there that kept Jacob in this game and made it to where if I slipped even a little bit, I would just lose. So
yeah, for sure. But thanks again, everyone, for watching this game. This is go back and watch our other gameplay versus Dromai. We have some gameplay versus Lexi and Oldhim, and then the original deck as well. But I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing some of the Sandscour gameplay. I've seen a lot of people have been playing it on Talishar with our Fabrary link. So thanks everyone for trying that out, and all the support that you guys have been giving us on the video and in the Discords and everything is really awesome to see. it's really cool to see the community coming in and talking and being interested in this deck list that we put together. So thanks a lot for that. Thanks for watching the video and liking and subscribing, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.